In any true crime story, you often find a love triangle, but what happened in Florida goes beyond jealousy. This is a story about obsession, a flight across state lines, and a confrontation that cost two women everything. At the center of this tragedy was Sakina Thompson, a 31-year-old woman who could not let go of her ex-boyfriend. When he moved on with a new girlfriend, 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson, Thompson decided she wasn't going to accept it.
And in Tamarack, deputies are investigating a suspicious death. This is on the 9300 block of Northwest 57th Street.
Caller says that there's a gash on the patient's neck. It looks like someone slashed her neck.
This harrowing 911 call went through around 3 in the afternoon Thursday. Broward deputies later finding a young woman dead. Family says she was just 23 years old.
This is a textbook definition of premeditated murder. There was no way you were ever going to convince a jury that this was self-defense when you yourself traveled 1,200 miles to this woman's home. This wasn't like a random scuffle.
She flew down to Florida. Her stated goal, she claimed later, was simple: to talk, to confront the other woman in a calm, reasoned discussion about a man who had clearly made his choice. The conversation, as you might predict, did not go as planned. Thompson told police that the meeting quickly devolved into a fight. According to her statement, she killed Kayla in self-defense. Her justification was chillingly specific. She claimed Kayla had attacked her and had cut her stomach.
You didn't kill her because she was fighting?
No, I killed her because she took the glass from the hookah and slashed me across my stomach.
Thompson says she was 2 months pregnant at the time. She says Hodgson cut her stomach with a piece of glass. Thompson grabbed the glass and then blacked out.
Now let's talk about that self-defense plea. Thompson told police she was 2 months pregnant at the time, arguing she was defending not just herself, but her unborn child. It was a desperate claim, a final attempt to justify the unjustifiable. But the jury heard the evidence. They heard about the lengths Thompson went to, traveling across the country to confront a woman she barely knew over a relationship that was already over. They ultimately rejected her self-defense argument. Thompson was convicted of murder.
Defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
Woman found guilty of first-degree murder in 2022 killing of romantic rival in Tamarack.
There are still so many questions about what happened to this young woman. Initial reports, which you're about to hear, are disturbing. And right now you can see deputies and law enforcement are still here as loved ones gather to say goodbye.
The court handed down the sentence: life in prison without the possibility of parole. For Sakina Thompson, her desperate attempt to reclaim a relationship resulted in the ultimate price: her freedom. But perhaps the cruelest twist in this story of toxic obsession lies with the man at the center of it all. While Sakina Thompson faces a lifetime behind bars, and the family of Kayla Hodgson tries to cope with their devastating loss, the ex-boyfriend has moved on completely. He is reportedly engaged to another woman. It's a stark, brutal parallel. One woman's future evaporated in a moment of violent rage, while the man she fought for continues his life, ready to start another family. The tragedy of Kayla Hodgson is a haunting reminder that obsession, when allowed to win, leaves only ruin in its wake. Do you feel this verdict is justified? Was she a toxic ex, or caught up in emotion at the wrong place and wrong time? What are your thoughts on this devastating series of events? Subscribe now. Stay tuned for more murder, motive, and mayhem. Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Tuesday, December 9th, 2025, just weeks before Christmas break. The day should have ended with laughs and smiling faces and bus rides home. Instead, it ended with a scream. Inside a crowded high school hallway, a simple dispute escalated to ultimate violence. A blade flashed. A life was extinguished in the place where students should feel safe and be preparing for their future, not meeting an early end. But the most chilling detail? It wasn't the sound of the crime that went viral, it was the sound of indifference. Students didn't run. They didn't help. They held up their phones and filmed the murder.
Representative Baker tells me that her classmates have been reaching out to her since this incident happened yesterday.
This is the fatal stabbing at North Forsyth High School.
Note that the stabbing happened around 11 o'clock Tuesday morning, just minutes after the first bell rang.
Asks a terrifying question. When did human tragedy become entertainment? In the viral, unfortunate recordings students uploaded online, you can hear them laughing, the tone detached, almost amused. He just pulled a knife out, one student says. Yet there is no alarm, no cry for help, no warning for the victim to run. Just the cold, calm commentary of an audience watching a deadly performance. A student can be heard asking, "Gang, you coming back, twin?"
Gang, you coming back, twin? Oh God, watch out, twin, I'm not.
Coming back. This implies possible motive rooted in revenge, an earlier humiliation, or a dark promise made. The victim was pronounced dead shortly after. The killer, also a student, was taken into custody. Reports show the dispute between the 18-year-old and a 16-year-old that were friends and was fighting over a THC vape pen, something so small that was allowed to be the reason for someone losing their life.
We are now hearing from the family of a student killed in a stabbing at North Forsyth High School.
16-year-old was stabbed through the sternum and in the heart. The teen who survived this deadly fight suffered defensive wounds in an effort to wrestle the knife away from his friend. Even in reportedly defending himself by investigators, his family still is receiving death threats. Multiple families' lives ruined over nothing. But the horror wasn't just about the blade. At least 10 students stood around and watched this murder unfold, not intervening, but recording. And where were the adults? The reports are clear. No staff or security were immediately present. This raises agonizing questions for the Winston-Salem, Forsyth County School District. Where was the security resource officer? Where was the immediate intervention? Why were the metal detectors not in use? How can a student not only carry a deadly weapon onto campus, but carry out a murder in a crowded hallway with no authority figure in sight? The school staff's failure of presence is as much a part of this story as the knife itself. This incident lays bare a growing, terrifying truth. Our society and our children are becoming profoundly desensitized to death and violence. The official response was immediate and heart-wrenching. Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough confirmed the families had been notified, asking the community for prayers, calling it another sad day in Forsyth County. Governor Josh Stein called the event shocking and horrible, but it was Winston-Salem Police Chief William Penn who cut through the official grief to address the darkest modern component of this tragedy, the videos. Please think about the insensitive nature of what you're doing. This is not the time to clout chase. He was speaking directly to the students and to the public who were sharing the video of a human being's final moments for likes and attention. The arrest has been made, but the justice system won't fix the hole left in the North Forsyth community, nor will it address the crisis of a generation filming a fatal stabbing for social media likes. The sheriff concluded his statement simply urging parents to talk to their children and love them. These unfortunate series of events leave two sets of families' lives ruined forever. The final question for us, for the schools, and for the world remains: how can we protect our children from these situations when the danger lurks not just in the hands of the assailant, but in the indifference of the witnesses? We will watch this case closely. Stay tuned and subscribe for more Murder, Motive, and Mayhem. In the so-called city of brotherly love, Philly.
Gun violence is hitting close to home for more and more Americans.
Seen in this surveillance video, police say they believe more than 100 shots erupted during an impromptu block party gathering.
3 people in the Grays Ferry mass shooting were killed and 9 more injured.
Some lives are marked by a single shattering moment.
People running for their lives as gunfire sprayed into the crowd.
Video shows a large pool of people gathered on South Street moments before the gunfire.
For Azir Harris, that moment came in 2018.
The man was paralyzed after being shot back in 2018. He became an advocate against gun violence.
He was just 17, full of vibrant energy of youth, when a bullet changed everything.
He was a great person, man. Great person, even though he had a disability, but he really lived up to a high standard, man.
He survived a drive-by shooting when he was only 17 years old. His family has been through so much, and they are devastated.
Forever muting the rhythm of his legs, but Azir refused to be silenced. From that wheelchair, he found his voice.
Well, I figured they'd either go to the store, get some juice or something like that. I never thought that he would be on the other side of town when that happened to him.
Changing his pain into purpose, sharing his story, a living testament to the devastating cost of gun violence.
We have 120 guns for every 100 human beings. That's ridiculous. This is supposed to be a country of human beings, not a country.
Police have not made any arrests in this case.
For one of the 3 victims killed in that shootout.
Wake up this morning from what happened last night, it's a travesty.
Hoping to save others from the same fate.
I just want to say, put these guns down, man.
Seven years later, 2025, on Independence Day weekend, that fragile hope was brutally extinguished. It was 1 a.m. in the morning in South Philly. What was meant to be a holiday weekend cookout devolved into a scene of unimaginable chaos. Over 140 pieces of ballistic evidence would later be scattered across the asphalt. A storm of gunfire erupted, automatic weapons, extended clips, everything that you can imagine, ripping through the night, where 12 people were struck, 3 of their lives were lost in all that chaos. When the echoes faded, 3 lives were gone. 10 more, including 2 innocent children, were left wounded. And among the fallen, tragically, was Azir Harris, shot multiple times in the back. He was pronounced dead at the hospital at 2:16 a.m. That very violence he fought so tirelessly against claimed him again, but this time forever. His father, Troy Harris, stands with the devastating aftermath. A piece of his soul ripped away. He said, "Taking him away took my whole family. We living, but a piece of us is missing."
Taking him away took my whole family. We living, but a piece of us is missing.
Azir was a father himself to a precious 1-year-old baby boy. His father said, "My son was a great guy, giving, kind, everything to me and my family. He was the light in our house, the lights of my life. I'm so sorry he got took away like this. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry." Troy had been the one to encourage Azir, the one who saw the power in his son's struggle. He was seeing a lot of his friends around him dying, and I told him, "You're special. Tell everyone your story," Troy recalls. And Azir did. He toured, he spoke, and poured his heart into prevention, driven by the stark reality he lived every day, battling with his legs being paralyzed. Now Azir's journey had come to the most tragic final chapter. The reason for that horrific early morning spray of bullet remains unknown. Police have leads, a mountain of ballistic evidence, and $20,000 reward on the table, but no arrests have been made. For Troy Harris, the pain transmutes into a desperate plea. Why do you have to hurt so many families? The carelessness with the guns and dying for a neighborhood you don't own nothing in. It's just sad there's no community growth. His message, now carried by the ghost of his son's advocacy, rings out into the heartbroken streets of Philadelphia. These youths are taken into extreme. They think killing each other is a game. You don't come back from that. It's not a game. You hurt families, destroy lives. All I can say is put the guns down. Put the guns down, man, he said.
I just want to say, put these guns down, man.
Azir's life was a testament to resilience and a hope against an unrelenting tide. His death is a devastating reminder of the ongoing crisis that continues to mislead so many. This is a very unfortunate situation. If you got any leads, any information, if you got any insight on this situation that happened very recent, be sure to comment below and let us know your thoughts on this whole thing. Like, share, subscribe for more. Bent, New Mexico, a place where nothing is meant to burn but the desert sun. But in the early hours of January 22nd, police responded to a call on Nogal Canyon Road, not for a family tragedy, but for a raging fire. The object burning was a 2007 blue Subaru, and inside that vehicle, investigators would uncover a triple homicide so savage.
Pretty upset. He was looking for Vic when we were up there the other day.
Who had passed away in 2023 and had since been occupied by his closest relatives.
You can make an argument that Bakersfield being a terrible place.
It would shake the quiet of Otero County to its core. When first responders extinguished the blaze, the horror was immediate. Inside the melted wreckage, they found not just metal and soot, but a human skull and a rib cage. The Office of the Medical Investigator later confirmed 3 badly burned bodies were stacked inside the car. At least one victim had suffered a gunshot wound to the head. The vehicle was registered to 68-year-old Victor Pereira, who lived just a short distance up the road with Mary Mauser and Killian Mays. They were all missing. The scene wasn't just a discovery, it was a clear attempt to destroy evidence, with police quickly identifying gasoline as a chemical accelerant. But the killer or killers had already made a crucial mistake days earlier. 2 days before the car fire on January 20th, a neighbor, Mike Blett, had called the sheriff's office requesting a welfare check on the Perea residence. Blett had been communicating with Kane Mays, a 27-year-old man who lived nearby and was the stepson of Victor Perea. Mays initially told Blett that everything was okay, but then later called the sheriff's office himself to cancel the welfare check. When officers did enter the home later that day, the scene told a very different story from what Mays had claimed. The car was gone, and though no people were inside, there was missing carpet in the master bedroom, a bullet hole in the kitchen wall, and evidence of a massive, frantic cleanup. They found .22 caliber casings and live ammunition. They found traces of blood, and then they found the cleanup kit, an ice chest containing an empty bleach container, hydrogen peroxide, and latex gloves. Kane Mays. And another trail led police to Mays' stepsister, Cassandra Douglas, 28, in Roswell. She initially lied, telling police she hadn't seen Mays since before the fire, but surveillance footage and witness accounts soon broke her facade. When confronted again after Mays had been arrested in Mississippi, Cassandra's story cracked wide open. In a horrifying confession, Douglas told police that she had gone to the victim's home with Mays on January 16th. She claimed she saw the bodies of Perea, Mauser, and Killian Mays already wrapped up in sleeping bags and trash bags. Kane Mays told her he had found them dead and needed to get rid of the bodies because his DNA was all over the scene. Douglas didn't run. Instead, she helped. She helped Mays clean up the blood. She helped him load the bodies into Victor Perea's blue Subaru. And then, the ultimate act of desperation. They drove the vehicle up Nogal Canyon Road, flipped it over using a pipe, doused it in gasoline, and set it on fire. The bloody clothing and cleaning supplies were later found hidden in a septic tank on the property. Cain Mays and Cassandra Douglas, step-siblings, bound not by family loyalty, but by the shared guilt of a triple murder and a failed attempt at erasure. Both Cain Mays and Cassandra Douglas were charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Mays faces additional counts for conspiracy, arson, car theft, and tampering with evidence. The family members Victor Perea, Mary Mouser, and Killian Mays were killed over motives that appear rooted in theft and financial gain, their lives ending not in a dignified funeral home, but in the desolate wreckage of a burning car. A sickening end to a terrifying crime that started with a gun, a cleanup kit, and a chilling decision to cancel a welfare check. What are your thoughts on this devastating series of events? Subscribe now. Stay tuned for more Murder, Motive, and Mayhem. On the surface, she was an Egyptian model.
I don't know who I am or who's that person. I'm not related to.
She, piece by piece, hung up his torso in the shower with coat hangers and other things in order to let the blood dry out.
Alluring and exotic.
She stated that she had cooked some of his ribs in the oven, put some barbecue sauce on it, and actually tasted.
The downstairs neighbor heard the garbage disposal running and grinding the entire weekend. Like a motor under stress.
He was a 56-year-old pilot, wealthy and seeking companionship. Their marriage just weeks old in the fall of 1991.
What she was good with was her sexuality. She could get men to do things for her, and she used her sex.
She had this attraction to men, and she could play pool.
Seemed a whirlwind romance. But behind the closed doors of their Costa Mesa apartment, a nightmare was unfolding.
It takes a great deal of effort to cut it up into multiple pieces, to package all those pieces so that they don't look human.
She said that she'd cut up her husband and put him in trash bags and needed some type of a truck or a vehicle to help her get the trash bags.
A tale so gruesome, it would shock the world and etch itself into the darkest annals of true crime.
In a deep fryer, so it was pretty badly burned.
It ranks as the most gruesome crime scene that I've ever encountered.
This is the story of Omaima Ori Nelson and the unthinkable, cannibalistic Thanksgiving dinner she left behind.
His hip area was found disguised with the attributes of a Thanksgiving meal: peas, corn, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce. His hands were found in a fryer. His head was found in the freezer, amidst frozen vegetables and frozen food.
She bragged to her psychiatrist that the ribs were the best part, that nothing was sweeter than the taste of her husband.
Omaima Ori Nelson immigrated to the United States from Egypt. By November 1991, she was married to William E. Nelson, 56, a man 3 decades her senior. Their union was less than a month old, but already the cracks were showing. Accounts describe a tumultuous relationship, fraught with arguments and alleged abuse. Omaima claimed Bill was a sadist, engaging in non-consensual bondage and physical assaults, even threatening her with deportation. Bill's family, however, painted a different picture. Omaima as a manipulative con artist with a history of preying on older, wealthy men. The truth, as always, remains shrouded in conflicting narratives. Thanksgiving Day, November 28, 1991. What should have been a day of gratitude turned into a scene of unimaginable horror. According to Omaima's later claims, Bill had sexually assaulted her after tying her to the bed during bondage play.
Her husband had raped her, had beat her up, had put her through a few days of bondage.
She stated she broke free, striking him with a lamp, then repeatedly stabbing him with scissors and beating him with a clothes iron until the iron itself shattered. Bill Nelson ultimately died from multiple stab wounds. Autopsy reports would later reveal ligature marks on Bill's wrists, supporting the claim he was tied up before his death. However, a medical examination of Omaima showed no signs of physical sexual trauma. What happened next propelled this case into infamy. After killing her husband, Omaima began the gruesome task of dismembering his 230-pound body on their kitchen floor. She allegedly spent hours, reportedly in a red dress, red shoes, and a red hat, systematically butchering his remains. The details that emerged were chilling. She decapitated him and placed his head in the freezer. She castrated him in an act she later claimed was revenge for alleged sexual assaults. She boiled his hands in oil, ostensibly to remove his fingerprints. Police found them later in a deep fat fryer. She attempted to dispose of various body parts down the garbage disposal. Neighbors reportedly heard it running continuously for hours. Other remains were mixed with leftover Thanksgiving turkey and packed into plastic bags, cardboard boxes, and tin foil. In the days following the murder, Omaima desperately tried to enlist the help of former boyfriends to dispose of the remains, offering $175,000 from a safe that only contained $100. She drove around Orange County in Bill's Corvette, a garbage bag filled with his entrails and dentures, seeking help to dump them in the back bay. One ex-boyfriend, Richard Gray, refused to listen and alerted authorities. On December 1st, 1991, police, acting on Gray's tip, entered the Nelson residence. What they found was a scene of unparalleled gruesomeness. Blood stained the furniture. Human flesh was wrapped in foil or packed into containers. In total, police recovered 11 containers within the apartment and a garbage bag in the Corvette, all filled with Bill Nelson's dismembered remains. They found the soup pot used to cook parts, the cooler with his severed head, and the deep fat fryer containing his hands. Despite Bill's large stature, police estimated only about 100 pounds of human remains were recovered. Omaima Ari Nelson was arrested for first-degree murder. During her interrogation and subsequent trial, Omaima offered shifting and conflicting accounts. She initially claimed 5 intruders drugged her, murdered Bill, and framed her. Later, her defense centered on self-defense, arguing she acted out of fear for her life due to Bill's alleged abuse. The prosecution, however, painted a different picture. Omaima, as a cunning individual with a history of violence and financial exploitation of men. They highlighted her prior conviction for assaulting an ex-boyfriend at gunpoint. Perhaps the most disturbing testimony came from a psychiatrist to whom Omaima had allegedly confessed the unimaginable, that she had prepared Bill's ribs with barbecue sauce, cooked them in the oven, and upon tasting them declared, "It's so sweet." Though she later vehemently denied any act of cannibalism, this sensational claim fueled the public's morbid fascination with the case. After 6 days of deliberation, on January 12th, 1993, the jury found Nelson guilty of second-degree murder. She was sentenced to 27 years to life in prison. Her appeal in 1995 was unsuccessful.